Hey guys, it's Jackie from Homeschool Hangout and Nerd Family. And today I am sharing 5 reasons that homeschooling is actually easier than putting your child in traditional school. Yes, you heard me. Easier. If you like these kind of videos, do me a favor, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs it, and let's get into the 5 reasons. First, why am I doing this video? Well, I was talking to a friend of mine who's considering the homeschool journey for their child, and their child is 4 right now, going to be turning 5. They're looking at kindergarten, and I'm like, oh yeah, especially for elementary school, it's so much easier to just homeschool them, plus all the extra benefits. And they're like, really? You are the first person who didn't say it was like way harder. So I decided that meant a video needed to happen. So the first reason homeschooling is easier, it's going to sound silly, but it's the delivery and the pickup. What do I mean by that? School starts early in the morning. Even if your kid gets on the bus, you need to get them up, get them dressed, pack their lunches, make sure they have all their forms and their homework and the right jacket for the day and the right... Not to mention if you actually have to go take them and deal with that. Homeschooling means you never have to leave the house in pajamas. You don't have to fight with your kids. When I talk to people who put their kids in public school, because of course, since I'm a big homeschooler, everyone whines to me about the problems of public school. That is one of the big ones that I hear. They fight with their child every morning before they send them out of the house. Now, are there ways to avoid some of the fighting? Yes. But I'm not a morning person. I don't want to do that. And then turn around and go back and pick that kid up. You have to stand in lines or park in lines. You have to park early, wait for your kid to get out. Then there's early release Wednesdays around here. All of it. It's a nuisance. In reality, since it only takes a half hour to do kindergarten and first grade, and you add a half hour for each grade, until they're like in 3rd grade, 4th grade, it can take longer to take them to school and get them from school than it is just to educate the kid. 2, you set when school is. So I already aforementioned, I am not a morning person. My husband is the morning parent, as we call it. He gets up and makes sure, people eat and, aren't still in their pajamas before I come out. I love it. But you can pick when your child is most open to learning. If they're not a morning kid, maybe you wait till 10 o'clock in the morning. If they're not an afternoon kid, you don't wait in the afternoon. When they're in public school, they come home with homework after a long day at school, and then you have to sit down between 3 and 8 and do homework. And maybe they're burned out by that point. Maybe that doesn't work. You get to set that time for your student and for you and take both those things into account. Not just what's best for them, but what's also best for you. I personally remember doing homework with my siblings while I was trying to cook dinner and I'm trying to help them with their math, and it just was like, no. So this way, it's so much easier because you get to pick that time that everyone is working better, and it actually takes you less effort and less time than just doing the homework with them. Number 3, you make the assignments and how they're taught. One of the complaints I got, especially when Common Core was first coming in, is, I don't know how to teach this math to my kid. Now, we'll get into the idea of certain maths being confusing, but it was, the teacher says you have to teach them how to guess. The teacher says you have to teach them this. Or, this is how we're teaching reading this year. I remember when my siblings were little, because my siblings are a lot younger than me, depending on which kid it was which method of reading they were teaching. They did phonics. They did just where you would memorize words. They did zoophonics. I was also an Algebra 1 tutor in high school. And there's this specific thing where you take a quadratic equation and you break it down into 2 binomials. And every year they would change, or every couple of years they would change how they wanted the kids to do it. So I learned something called bottoms up, and we can get into that. If somebody wants to learn how to do bottoms up, let me know down in the comments. I'll do another video. Well, the year I first started tutoring, they were doing guess and check. So you would kind of make a reasonable guess and then do the math. Well, so I taught my students bottoms up because the guess and check made no sense to them and they were confused and not getting it. They went and turned in the homework and got it marked wrong because they didn't do it the way the teacher taught them. My 16-year-old got a really nasty taste of this last semester actually. She took a trig class over at the community college, And she got the problem right on the test, but lost half the credit for that problem because she didn't do it exactly the way the teacher told them to. You don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. If a method of learning isn't working for them, let's say you were teaching zoo phonics and now they need regular phonics, whatever, you can change that. You can customize that to what you know and how your kid learns best. And you don't have to spend hours banging your head against homework assignments that you think are stupid and do no good. I remember my mom getting frustrated when I had to write math facts like 15 times. You do a math fact sheet, and any one you got wrong, you had to write way too many times. And she's like, this is stupid, but it was the assignment. I had to do it. When you're the teacher, you don't have to. Number 4, time for chores and play. One of the things I love most about homeschooling all the way through, because now at this point I've graduated kids, is they have time to learn how to become functional adults. Yeah, you hear me? Functional, meaning they can do their laundry. They can do my laundry. They make dinner in high school and junior high. Even in kindergarten, you start teaching them how to sort socks, and they have time to play with their toys. I know, it's unheard of. You give them these toys at Christmas and they never have time. Now, you're saying, well, kids not knowing chores has to do with parenting. Yes and no. When I was in high school, in public school, I would leave the house before 7 o'clock in the morning. And if I had any kind of extracurricular activity, not a competition, just to practice, I wouldn't be home until almost 6 o'clock at night. Add to that people who do like football and they've got games on the weekends or traveling. And if they ever get a part-time job, or if you actually want them to like see a friend someday, they don't have time to do their laundry. They don't have time to make dinner, take out the garbage, things like that. Add to that, if you want your child to do sports at night, they have that time to enjoy their life a little bit during the day. And it just frees that up a lot. And when I say playing with their toys, not necessarily with you. You have time to have device-free play. You have time to have, I want to let you play on your computer at X amount of time. We don't time in our house, but we want to let you play on your computer. But we also want you to go play with your Legos or build something. I don't care what you do, just do something. You have that time in your schedule more than just on Saturday or maybe Sunday afternoon after church or just Sundays. You have that time, and it allows them to develop different as a person. It allows them time to, wait for it, read for pleasure. My kids go to the library every week and come home with books. They can just go read something, or as I say, I kind of guide some of what they read, so they have to read so much nonfiction, so much science, so much this. And they get so much out of that. And it makes it easier because they're not frustrated. And frankly, I don't make dinner, and they do their own laundry, and they take care of themselves a little bit better because you've had that time to invest in that. And number 5, they're always around. I know. You're saying, Jackie, you said this was ways that homeschooling was easier. They're always around. Yeah, they are. It can be hard. I grant it. I know. But in some ways, it makes it so much easier because you get to know who they are. You also, let's be honest, my kids are always here, but I leave them. They're 12, 14, 16, the ones that are still at home, and I go run my errands without them, or I, have a lunch date with my husband and I leave them. So as they get older, they get a little autonomy, and I'm going to take them all to choir here in half an hour. And so I've got that time. So they're not literally always with you, and you can schedule that and play dates, but they're around, which means you can know them. You can see who they're becoming and correct their behaviors, maybe. You can spend time talking to them. In reality, we talk about this, setting aside this quality family time. You know what? So much more is caught in the quick conversations or the casual moments, sitting in the car going to grocery shop, and they say how they thought the world worked this way, and you go, no, it doesn't. Or you get to see the tenderness of their heart and hear those world situations that are pleading out to them. And that is not just a high school thing. That starts very young. You get to influence how they treat people, how they treat you. I always say one of the biggest benefits of homeschooling, while they're always around, you have the time to teach them to be the people you want to be around. It is a blessing, and as I have one out of the house already, it's a time you can't ever get back really the same way. And it's a joy, and it makes my life easier because I've seen kids who go off to school and their parents just get this hour of this brooding teenager or this, really sarcastic fourth grader or this overtired and crushed down second grader. It happens in different ways at every age. And you don't have the time to really see what's going on and digging in and really being able to counteract that or maybe even avoiding it. So I admit I homeschool because I'm lazy. These are just 5 of the many, many ways I find homeschooling easier than public schooling, private schooling, anything outside of the house. Let me know what your thoughts are. These aren't necessarily the biggest benefits of homeschooling, just ways it makes my life easier. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.